Morning, I tweeted out that Bronny James might be a better long-term NBA prospect than Dalton Knecht, and I'll leave the tweet right here. But after it, everyone flooded my inbox, a lot of you guys on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, asking me to make a video about why I might feel this way. Now, there's a lot of variables to get through today, so let's jump right in. I want to preface this video by saying in the tweet I said I might, because this is a question that I've been pondering for quite some time, especially after watching them in the California Classic and now well into the Summer League. It's also really important that I say I'm not saying Bronny James is a better player than Dalton Knecht right now. What I am saying is when you step out their NBA careers, Bronny James could ultimately have a better career than Dalton Knecht for a bunch of reasons that we're going to get right into. First of which is Bronny James and Cole Swider have objectively been the Lakers' best players in the Summer League, while Dalton Knecht has really struggled. Now, of course, the Summer League isn't everything. It's really hard to judge players. The environment is really bizarre. There's a bunch of pros, there's a bunch of undrafted guys, there's a bunch of two-way guys, there's second-year guys. It is really hard to judge people, but objectively, that's the case for the Lakers right now. Bronny James and Cole Swider have been their best players so far. Even though Dalton has struggled, I'm not really concerned at all about the shooting struggles or the percentages really when I look at him. What I'm concerned about is he's come back from an entire summer after the year he went last year, and he hasn't shown any real improvement in any area whatsoever. It might not seem like anything big now, but it actually could be for Knecht down the line. Because his skill set is so complementary to Luka and LeBron, and he's so talented, it means that he's never going to play in the G League at all. He's going to be with the Lakers first team all season, and that means that he's missing out on some crucial opportunities in the G, in my opinion, to grow. And it's the same growth that we've seen Bronny James display in year 2 in the Summer League. You have to remember that the G League would be giving Knecht ample opportunities to grow, and he's missing out on those reps. He's missing out on the opportunity to have the ultimate green light in the G League. He's missing out on the opportunity to shoot the ball whenever he wants, to improve his offensive game because he has so much upside there. He's missing out on the opportunity to make mistakes in an environment where it doesn't matter. At the moment, he's in the Lakers rotation for 10 minutes. He's making a few mistakes, missing a few shots, and not even seeing the floor in the second half. He's also missing the opportunity to improve his defense and rebounding in a live competitive environment. This is noteworthy because he's leaving a lot of opportunities for growth on the table without playing in the G. And then you think about the Lakers rotation. You can make a strong case that Bronny James is more in line to get rotation minutes for this upcoming season than Dalton Knecht is. The only person in between Bronny and significant minutes in an NBA rotation right now is really Gabe Vincent, unless they trusted someone else to be a secondary ball handler in the second unit over Bronny. Now for Knecht, he has to compete with Jake LaRavia, who has 3 years of NBA experience ahead of him. He's not playing before LaRavia. He's also not going to be playing for Dorian Finney-Smith's replacement, which we anticipate the Lakers are going to make another trade to address that, as well as any other minimum guys that are better than him defensively. Could be Melton, could be Brogdon. Could be a bunch of guys that could be playing ahead of Knecht in the rotation next year. Even Jared Vanderbilt could be playing ahead of Knecht in the rotation next year because of the defense, because of the weak side crashing, because of the offensive rebounding opportunities that Knecht just hasn't shown at all yet. When you put their futures side by side, considering Knecht is at a championship contender potentially and not a rebuilding franchise who's giving him heavy minutes and the ability to make mistakes and maximize his potential, it could actually put a ceiling on who he could ultimately become. We're in a situation where Knecht is a 4-year college guy. He's a specialist, but he's very talented that he shouldn't be put in a box, but he might end up being put in a box. I would argue that he's more streaky than a consistent shooter right now, so he's probably just under an elite shooter in that respect. But for his long-term future, he's probably ultimately going to become purely a floor spacer when he has far more potential than that. And because Knecht doesn't play defense and he hasn't shown any improvements on that end since entering the league, it can become very difficult for his career down the track. You think about even Cole Swider, who's in my opinion a better shooter than him on a like-for-like basis, who's a world-class shooter but can't get legitimate NBA run even though he's been on the fringes, and it's because you can't play defense. You think about a guy like Doug McDermott, who's still a free agent now, who can shoot the hell out of the ball, or guys like Landry Shamet, who goes from place to place. There's a million of these types of guys, but the one way guys lose value when you can't play defense. Unless you're multi-skilled, it's going to be really hard to get on the floor. And then you think about Bronny on the other side of this coin, who in my opinion has shown far more defensive upside and potential overall capability with his growth than Knecht, and he could have a potentially longer and bigger role to play rather than Knecht being a bit player on teams that I can foresee in the future. Now that's not saying that Bronny is more talented than Knecht, because I don't think he is, like for like, but it means that Bronny's skill set right now, the foundation, and what he's showing especially defensively, which is going to get him on the floor, may be more valuable to teams in the long run. And this isn't an uncommon thing in the NBA. We've seen guys that are far less talented get more minutes than guys that are talented because of what they bring to any particular team when they see their minutes. And then there's the biggest factor, which is Knecht is 4 years older than Bronny. Bronny is the youngest player actually on the Lakers Summer League team, and you can make a case he's potentially arguably the best already. He is also one of the youngest players ever in G League history to average 25 and 5. So that factor there with the 4-year gap, it makes you wonder what Bronny could look like potentially in 4 years. What does 4 years of development look like for Bronny compared to where Dalton Knecht is right now? That's another factor we have to consider. Even someone like Jake LaRavia, who has just joined the Lakers roster, is actually younger than Knecht. So when you think about all those things, the upside on Knecht and the ceiling may actually be a little bit lower than people think, even though he's a younger guy, even though he has room to grow, and even though he's a younger asset. I want to finish this video without saying that Knecht feels like he's in his head still after the trade deadline, obviously being dealt for Mark Williams, but then that being rescinded and him coming back. I think he's still got some mental challenges from that are still lingering, and it's manifesting itself in the Summer League with his performances, in my opinion. I don't know if Knecht feels like he shouldn't be there or not, or if he doesn't belong, or if it's just difficult for him because of the personnel around him that's not creating good looks for him and things of that nature. But I think Knecht definitely has a mental barrier there, and if he's able to overcome that, this whole conversation between him and Bronny could really just be lopsided. It could go away instantly. Knecht could be absolutely a big factor next year in the rotation. You know, you might see a situation where he potentially starts if a couple people go down, and this whole thing could be blown out of the water. But it's clear that there's a mental barrier there still for Knecht, and if he can get past that, we might be having a whole different conversation. But as always, let me know what you guys think. Is Bronny James potentially a better long-term prospect than Knecht because of all the reasons we covered today, or do you still believe Dalton will turn out to have a better career in the long run? I'm Damian Peters. Subscribe if you like this kind of discourse. I'll see you in the next one.